Hey guys, welcome back to ICU. I'm Melanie Sandy, and today we're jumping into a brand new topic. Today we're going to talk about forgiveness. This is a topic that's very difficult for, I believe, everyone. In certain situations, it's hard to forgive. So, in Oxford Dictionary, it states that forgiveness is defined as the action or process of forgiving or being forgiven. When one stops feeling angry or resentful towards someone for an offense, flaw, or mistake. So today I wrote a letter to forgiveness, and here it goes. Dear forgiveness, I have tried to forgive, to overcome, to stop feeling angry, bitter, and offended. But it wasn't going away. I couldn't get it off my mind. The hurt, the pain, the offense consumed me. I allowed it to control my mindset, to control my actions, my attitude, and how I viewed life. The lack of forgiveness gave the other person my power, my peace of mind. It gave the other person the strength to hold me in that moment mentally. It caused me not to grow, not to heal, and resulted in me treating others how I was treated. But I eventually did the work. I forgave for me, to free me of the weight, to take back my power, my peace of mind, to start the process of healing, of growth into a new season of life. In doing so, I found happier days. I found my smile again. I found a clear mind, and I realized forgiveness wasn't for the other person, but it was for me. Releasing me of the bitterness, the anger, the hold that was stunting my growth and discovery of what was next, of who I am and how strong I am and how much stronger I could be. Forgiveness is a characteristic of strength. When possessing strength, one is able to forgive others as well as forgiving themselves. This action results in true healing, releasing your body and mind of the suffering. And for that, I realized forgiveness was a must. But let's not confuse forgiveness with forgetting. What happened to us? What the other person did? Or better yet, what we did. Let's not confuse the forgiveness with minimizing the pain, the shame, the anger, the bitterness. All of the above is still valid. It all will make or has made changes to the person you see before you. Make the choice that the changes made are something that makes you better, more aware, stronger, that the changes result in a better you. So, today we're talking about forgiveness, and I have some points that I want to address. First and foremost, we need to understand that forgiveness is a process. This is not something that you can address and it can be overcome in a day or two, especially if the offense is something that hurts you dearly, especially if it's an offense that has tainted you, that has broken you as a person. For example, we have people that experience, child abuse or sexual assaults, or have just been in situations, as children where they feel like they can't forgive their parents, or they can't forgive their family members for putting them in certain situations, or you can't forgive a significant other or an ex for, breaking up with you or cheating on you, or you can't forgive a friend who you thought were your best friend and they betrayed you. These are things that, hit our hearts deeply, and because of it, we are extremely offended. And when we are extremely offended, it makes it very hard for us to forgive those people. Over time, I have learned and I've experienced that with forgiveness, you have to go through the stages. And everyone's stages are different. But majority of the time, we tend to go through the initial stage of have it be, sadness, anger, bitterness, pain. things of that nature. And once we go into that initial stage, that is where we have taken the offense and feel disrespected, or we've taken the offense and we feel extremely angry. And in that moment, that's when you feel like you may want to get even, or you feel like you may express yourself by, being argumentative or just trying to get back at somebody. But once you move forward from that initial phase, you then touch base with another phase, such as weakness or betrayal, or better yet, just the battle with yourself of you trying to figure out, how did you allow this thing to happen to you? Or are you going to beat yourself up for the situation? Not realizing that it's a possibility in this moment in time, in this specific offense, you may need to forgive that person as well as forgiving yourself. And unfortunately, when you're in the phase of betrayal and feeling like you're weak and just feeling like you're beating up on yourself, you're not at the place where you have yet to be able to actually move forward and actually forgiving. Another phase of forgiveness for me is the realization and the healing. That tends to come after you're angry, after you're bitter, after you've beaten up on yourself, after you've, tried to beat up on the other person. This is when you come to a realization that, whatever has happened, and it may have changed you as a person for the better or the worse. However, you need to learn to get over the situation. Not forgetting the situation, but just being able to move forward from the situation so that you can live life functionally. Because if you keep yourself in that moment, then you're not mentally preparing yourself for everyday life. You tend to lack skills that you normally would have. You tend to lack focus. You tend to, have a totally different attitude. You tend to speak to to people differently. When you are angry and bitter, you tend to show that in your everyday motion. And a lot of times people try to hide it. However, many a times it's hard to hide. If I am extremely hurt by a certain situation, my excited, energetic self is not going to be excited and energetic. I'm going to be a little bit more monotone. I'm going to, not be so excited and have great conversation with people. I'm going to be, not having less words, and basically not being able to really function and converse with others, because you tend to feel like you lose yourself when you feel extremely, disrespected, or when you feel betrayed. When in those moments, you tend to dwell on the situation at hand. When getting to the phase of realization, you begin to ask yourself questions, wondering whether or not you were the cause of the offense. Was the offense put on you? Did somebody do something to you? Whatever the case may be. But you tend to start asking yourself the questions, which at times, is this situation worth it? Is the person worth it? Is the person worth forgiving? Is the person, going to still be around after this situation? You have to learn to just be real with yourself and realize that, yes, the situation happened, and whatever the case may be, because there's situations that people deal with that are extremely offensive. For example, sexual abuse. Like if you are a child and you have a family member that has sexually abused you, that is the hardest thing to forgive. God, willingly, I'm happy to say that has never happened to me. And, I pray for everyone, and I hope that if that has happened to anyone, that they're able to, get through it and overcome it. But I can not even imagine what that would feel like and how that would be a burden that you would have to carry on a day-to-day basis. When dealing with major situations where you need to forgive people for something that they have done to you, it's extremely hard to not forgive and to live everyday life with carrying the burden of the betrayal or carrying the burden of disrespect. A lot of times we try to cover it up with a smile and feel like, okay, at the end of the day, that person was the one that did me wrong and I'm not going to forgive them. But in all actuality, you don't forgive for that person. You don't forgive for the situation. You don't forgive for the action. You forgive for yourself. Because if you don't forgive another person, then you are the person that is losing sleep. You are the person that's losing a peace of mind. You are the person that is walking with this weight on your shoulders day to day and not being able to be your true self. Or you tend to lose yourself in certain situations. For example, I've been in past, relationships where I've been cheated on, and it feels like the ultimate betrayal because you feel like you put your all into a situation, you love a person, you trust this person, and with the action of cheating, you feel betrayed, you feel like your trust has been broken, you feel disrespected, you feel belittled. There's so many different feelings that you're feeling. You feel jealous because now it's like, am I not good enough? You feel, not worthy. It's so many different feelings that you may experience. But in doing so, if you cannot honestly forgive the person for doing that action to you, then you are giving that person way more energy, way more strength. Like, you're giving them your power. You're allowing them to strip you of, your identity, and you're losing yourself in doing so. So one major factor of forgiveness is not forgiving the person because of them, but forgiving the person for you, to help you, to make you stronger, to make you heal, to allow yourself to gain your power back and your strength back. So in doing so, just remember that yes, you may still at the end of the day forgive the person and may never speak to them again. However, although you may never speak to them again, you were able to receive your power back. You were able to gain your clarity back, your peace of mind back. You were able to have your peace. At the end of the day, you don't allow anyone to take from you in no way or form. And when they disrespect you in a certain situation or, sexually abuse you in a certain situation, that is extremely painful, and it may strip you of your identity or of your happiness, but you need to forgive them for you so you can gain that happiness back. So in regards to forgiveness, I experienced many different situations where I had to forgive people, and I know everyone has experienced various different situations, have it being, a minor situation or an extremely detailed, hard to handle situation that is life-changing, that could be detrimental to someone's personality, to someone in general. And when experiencing situations where you need to forgive, you need to learn that you have to grow from the situation. If you allow a situation to break you down as a person and you never gain your control back, then in that moment, that situation is going to affect you for the rest of your life. Meaning, you don't forgive a person, have it be it was a relationship that occurred back in high school where that was your first love and he broke your heart. From that situation, if you never forgave that person, you have carried that offense with you all your life, and you are resulting in taking that offense that you had with that one particular person, and you are bestowing it upon everyone else that you meet. Meaning, you may be angry and bitter of the fact that he cheated on you, or the fact that he left you, or the fact that he had a baby on you, whatever the case may be. You have this offense, and once you have this offense, if you choose not to forgive this person, then that means you have weight on your shoulders that you are carrying. You have that bitterness. You have that anger. You have that feeling of betrayal. You have that feeling of disrespect. And anytime someone approaches you that is any way or any form similar to that situation, have it be any type of relationship or any type of male that wants to get close to you, you're going to have now your guard up because you have been offended in the past and you never let it go. Forgiveness is something that's so hard. Like, you're talking to someone who has, attempted to forgive and thought I forgave, and realizing that in all actuality, I never forgave because I allowed myself to be affected, to be bitter, to, act on how I felt about a situation, to someone that was never involved, that did not deserve the attitude that I presented to them because I was angry about a past situation. With forgiveness, growth comes. If you fail to forgive or refuse to forgive, then you're not allowing that situation to strengthen you. You're not learning from that specific situation. You're not allowing yourself to start over and to have a fresh start, and allowing yourself the best opportunities for you to be faced with in the future. You're allowing yourself to carry weights and bags with you that, have been in the past. And unfortunately, if you don't let them go, then it will affect your future. If you allow yourself to never forgive your mother and father for putting you through whatever the case may be, then you may then act in a way that you can affect your children. And now this is becoming a snowball effect versus you learning to forgive your parents and then you being in a better mindset, having a better headspace, feeling, a peace of mind, and being able to learn from the situation. In doing so, you then allow yourself to have a better opportunity to be a better person in the future and not reliving those past situations in your future, but actually being able to learn from them and to teach others from that one situation. In many ways, you do not have to directly speak to a person that has offended you in the past. You can forgive somebody and have never spoken to them. You can forgive somebody and unfortunately they have passed away because you have let it go and you allowed yourself to free yourself from that burden. You don't have to speak to the person because it may be a situation where if you speak to that person, you already know that person is going to, result in you guys having an argument. Or you may, it may bring up, bad past situations, whatever the case may be. But knowing that you do not have to directly speak with someone just to forgive them. I can forgive you and have yet to see you. And the last time I seen you was when we had our offense. And the last time I seen you was when we got into an altercation, whatever the case may be. But I can be in my own personal space. I can get through my stages of forgiveness all by myself, and I can acknowledge in my head that I have forgiven you and I have let it go, and I can see you tomorrow and be able to walk by you without any negative feelings, or be able to walk by you, and if you speak to me, I can sit there and present and have a conversation with you without being negative, because that is when you know that you have truly forgiven somebody. When you are able to stand in front of them and it not faze you, or you can see them and it not faze you, or they can say something and it not faze you. At the end of the day, again, not allowing someone to take your power and your strength and making sure that you gain that power, that strength, that mindset, that peace of mind back is the place where you need to go. That is the end result of forgiveness. We go through the pain. We go through the betrayal. We go through the feeling like you're beating up on yourself. You go through the healing process and you go through the growth. And at the end of the day, you get to the place where you're at happiness, where you feel content, when you feel at peace, when you're at a place where you're like, you know what? That girl was my best friend and, she did me wrong and she betrayed me, but I can see her today. And if she speaks, I can say hi and I have no negative feelings whatsoever. That is a place where you need to get to. A lot of times it's hard to get there. In many ways, forgiveness is not just to forgive another person. In many ways, you can be the person that needs the forgiveness, and you have to learn to forgive yourself in a situation. For example, you may have treated somebody extremely bad, or you may have, cheated on your significant other, or you may have, did something extremely bad to a family member. Regardless of what the situation is, if you are the person in that moment that needs to be forgiven and yet you still have yet to speak with the other person, you need to be able to learn to forgive yourself. And you don't have to wait for someone else to forgive you. You have to be able to get past, again, the pain, the anger, the bitterness, the fact that you are going to beat up on yourself, the vulnerable times, and get to the place where you have to learn from the situation and realize, I may have been the person that's done wrong, and because I am taking ownership that I done wrong, I need to forgive myself in this situation. Maybe you need to speak with the person that you had the offense with and just express to them, your side of the story, or what you feel, you need to state just to make you feel better, or just to make you feel at ease. A lot of times, that is the hardest part of forgiveness. Yes, it's extremely hard to forgive other people, but it's extremely hard to take ownership of something and have to then forgive yourself. For example, a lot of situations, parents don't always have, all the right answers. And sometimes it may fall into a situation where the parent has done something to the child, or has had the child experience something that they shouldn't have experienced, and resulting in the parents being the one that needs to be forgiven. That is extremely hard. I'm a mother, and I could only imagine if I was to put my child in danger, how I would feel and how I would beat up on myself so much, because I would feel like I was less of a person, that I was a horrible parent, that, I failed my child. And trying to learn to forgive yourself in those situations are probably the most hardest situations to forgive, because you have to be able to realize that in that moment, you may have not been capable of ensuring safety at that time. Or, you have to realize that unfortunately you can't go back in time. And because you can't go back in time and change things, you have to move forward. And the only way you can move forward is to learn to forgive yourself and to do better moving forward. If you do not forgive yourself and you tend to continuously beat up on yourself, then at that point in time, you're not even allowing yourself to become a better person. You're standing in the moments of bitterness, and that does not help you or your child. So when you get to the place of forgiveness and you finally learned that you have gone through the trials and you're now able to forgive and you're at a place of peace, when you are at that moment, that is the best place to be. That is the place where you feel like your mind is free. You have released these weights that you have been carrying for how long you've been carrying them, because every situation, is different. You may have had situations and offenses that occurred when you were a child that you still were unable to forgive, or you may have had situations that occurred within your last few years that you've been carrying on you. But when you are at that place where you finally learn to forgive that person, or you learn to forgive yourself, and you have released yourself of that weight, that is the place where you're happy. That is the place where you feel like you're a better person. That is where the growth is occurring, where you are learning, and now you can give yourself a pat on the back and, finally be able to understand that forgiveness is required. Like, you cannot live life without forgiving people. Everybody's always like, you know what? Forget it. I'm over it, and let it go. But letting it go is just hiding a situation. You can be so offended from something and just so-called let it go. And then years down the line, you are addressed with another situation, and this feeling randomly comes back. That's because you never let it go. When you realize that you truly let something go, you're able to talk about things and it not hit you hard the way it used to hit you hard, or it doesn't take you to a place in your mind where you may feel sad and bitter and jealous and angry. It's just a place where you just feel bliss and you're like, you know what? It doesn't faze you anymore. So I hope that everybody can get to the place of learning to forgive and learning to overcome, because there are situations in life that are so difficult that it's extremely hard to forgive. I totally understand that, and I am not, trying to negate that, an offense can fully, traumatize a person. However, with that trauma, you still need to learn to address the situation. Putting it in the back of your mind, acting like it never happened, trying to pretend that it doesn't faze you, that right there is playing with fire. And you're only going to, result in negative responses, and you're going to only see negative things that come from it. If you tend to try and hide things, the more you just pile things on top of it, you're going to be like the princess and the pea. She still realized that there was a pea underneath all those mattresses, and you're still going to have that offense underneath all the covering up that you do. So you need to learn to just try and forgive. And when you get to that place, it's going to feel free. You're just going to be at a place where you're just happy. Like, I have yet to, forgive everything and everyone in my life. But I am at a place where I am learning to forgive. I do not forget, but I'm learning to forgive, because I understand that I have to forgive people for me. If I don't forgive them, then I'm the one that is stuck in that moment. I'm the one that's bitter. I'm the one that is carrying the weight and the burden, and it affects my future and it affects me as a person. And I want to be the best person that I can be, and I hope you want to be the best person that you can be. So in doing so, this message is just to say, try and overcome. Try and forgive. We know it takes a process. We know it's not something that happens overnight, but try and forgive. Learn that you have to release the weights off your shoulders for you to be the best person that you can be. And if you are carrying baggage and bitterness and anger and pain with you from when you were a child, and if you are doing great at this day and age, then that's great. I am so happy for you. But can you only imagine if you were at peace, how far you could go? Take that into consideration. I just hope that everybody is able to learn to forgive, and that you take the steps in doing so, and learn to forgive not just the other person, but in certain situations, learn to forgive yourself. I'm here to say that I see you, and that I know that you guys have the strength, the power, and the ability to move forward and overcome in anything that is, put in your way. So I hope that you get to the place where you can be peaceful, you can be happy, and you can just be, positive and secure in your space. And in doing so, forgiveness is the key. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this message, and drop your comments down. Let me know what you guys think, because this topic is, is very sensitive because you take into consideration it's a lot of situations that we go through that we need to forgive, and we tend not to because we hold grudges, and we shouldn't, because when we hold those grudges, we allow ourselves to have those situations affect us in our everyday life, and that I will not allow anybody to have control over my actions, my attitude, my personality, just my everyday functioning. So please drop some comments. Let me know what you guys think about the topic today. Tell me how you feel and how are you able to forgive certain situations. And if you haven't forgive, how are you getting through it? And what are you doing to, live day to day? And how is it affecting you carrying those burdens and those weights? I'm here to say, please make sure you guys go follow the Instagram page. Go subscribe to my channel. I hope to see you guys soon, and I see you.